So, welcome to my video on how to use Live 32, the beta first release. So I sent you a file, a link that takes you to the GitHub page. So this is a very normal way of distributing your program freebies, the GitHub. So if you look down here, we've got release number 1, which is our version 1.2.1 beta. So that's the latest version. So let's click on it. It probably won't last very long because we'll find plenty of bugs, I'm sure. So I'm going to go down here and we will find the actual file that you want to download. So I'm going to download that, go bang like that, and it will download, and there you can see it, it's downloaded. So I'm going to click on that one, and there it is. I'm going to extract it because we want to get it out of being a zip file. I'm going to put that, or should put that, in a place where I'm going to use it regularly. So I get it out of my downloads folder and put it somewhere that's a bit safer, probably the Reaper folder. I'm going to extract that like so, and now when I go to my downloads folder, or the place where you've put that, you've now got the actual file. So you can obviously delete the zip file if you want, and I've got this Live 32 beta public version here. Right, so now I've got that. Now remember, I've shared you with the live sound multitracks for practicing. Probably an easy one to do this on is this Shades of Green, because it's just one track that we want to download. So this Shades of Green, one song for easy download. What I'm going to do is just go down here and download it. It will obviously be zipping for a bit, and when it's finished we'll open it up. So that zip is ready to download. I'm going to download it into the same place, which is my downloads, but again, put it somewhere sensible, like Live 32 folder somewhere on your hard drive. Save that. It should download pretty quickly. It's less than a minute, I reckon, because it's not that big a file, because it's just the one song. So there we go, that's now ready. So let's click on that. Again, we have to unzip it. I'm going to save it in the same place. Wherever you've saved it, you can of course delete the zip now. So I've got my Live 32 program, and I've got my Shades of Green multitrack. So let's go ahead and open this. It's already a Reaper file, so let's see if we can just double click and open it. So there we go, Reaper's opening up, and it'll take a second while it loads all the tracks. You will have to ignore some missing files, so just press ignore missing files, and because I think there's some missing files, I probably should have uploaded it. But there we go. It's a nice multi-track. We can play it, and you'll see that. There we go. So we've got that multi-track. It's all fine. You'll notice, of course, that this multi-track I'd done in a way where it was already supposed to be sort of an M32 style thing, where we had routing to some effects. So if we looked at the internal effects, we had a high pass, low pass filter, a gate, a compressor, and an EQ, just like you do on the M32. So this was already a sort of version that you could use, and it also had DCAs and things like that. So I'd already set it up in a way that you could use it. However, what we're going to do is convert this into something that can be used by this new Live 32 skin. So I'm going to go to Actions, Show Action List. You can do that just by pressing the question mark. Brings up this. You'll see these two things in here. I'm going to delete those because they won't show when you open this up. What you need to do now is go to New Action, Load Rear Script, and that brings up where you want to get the program from. So it's in this Live 1.2.1 here, Live 32 folder. in Live 32 itself, there's these 3 scripts. You don't need all of them because Launcher actually runs these other 2. But I suggest grabbing the console and the launcher. You don't need to grab the setup. But if you grab those 2, the console's handy. If you shut the console, you can then use that script again to open up the console. And I'll show you what I mean in a second. So that brings those 2 into here. First thing you need to do is run the launcher. So I'm just going to run the launcher. And actually, before I run the launcher, I'm going to select all the tracks that I want to bring in to the Live 32. So I'm going to select those 13 tracks. And then when I launch the launcher here, when I press run, this box will appear and it will tell me that there's a multitrack detected. In other words, it wasn't an empty project. There's a multitrack detected and there's 13 source tracks ready. That's what it says there, although it's pretty small. If it was an entirely new project, you could use this new console, or you can create this training template that creates a kind of rough template for you to drop files into. That's probably the safest place to start if you just wanted to go straight from scratch. But if you've already got some multi-tracks, particularly if you've just made some multi-tracks from like a live session, then you could use this, obviously. There's 2 different ways. Attach a project kind of just is very, very quickly. It just takes over the tracks that are already there, mutes any kind of soloing and changes all the routing, and changes all and just bypasses the existing effects. So that works pretty quickly. So I can cancel that, or I can import the multi-track, and that just basically copies the audio onto new files and then sort of archives the old files. So kind of leaves your old project intact, if you see what I mean. I'm going to do the attach project one, so I'm going to press yes. It'll take a few seconds, but actually not that long. And then you'll get hopefully you'll get this window pop up that basically says Live 32 console is ready, and it tells you that it's created all these things. It's created 32 inputs, 8 FX returns, 16 buses, 8 matrices, 8 DCAs, 6 mute groups, etc., etc. So it's created all that stuff in that one move. Then it will open the launcher. So when I press OK, the launcher will automatically open like that. And so you'll have this, which is essentially the M32 simulator. Now I can shut that like that, and I can reopen it. Say I shut it by accident, I can reopen it by going to the action list and going to console. If you can't find it, of course, you can just go in here and go console, type it, and it will be easy to see. Or you can obviously type Live 32, and that will bring up just those 2. And you can go to the console and press run, and it will open the virtual console like that. And now, of course, we can shut our action list like that. So we've got our live console. And really, we don't need to touch Reaper. You can do kind of everything from here. So the transport's in here, so I can play that. And I'm going to just reduce the volume a little bit so that you don't have to listen to it too loudly. So you can see all the tracks are coming in. They haven't named themselves very well. So I would first things I can do is select the track, then go to setup just like you would on the desk. And you go in here and you go, right, I'm going to put kick and make it red, press return, and there you see that I've got that. And now when I solo the track, you'll notice that it doesn't solo it. I get it in my solo PFL just like on the desk, but just like the desk, it doesn't actually solo the track in your front of house. So that would be done in your routing page. So in the routing page, the mains and the monitor, basically it's using, for the front of house, we're using the Reaper master. So whatever the Reaper master is set to, which is in my case the SSL 1 and outputs 1 and 2. I've only got 2 outputs, so I can't demonstrate the the solo. But with the monitor output, you would, if you've got a 4-channel sound card, you could have that on the next lot. But this will only give me outputs 1 and 2 because that's all I've got. So unfortunately, I can't do that. If you've got a 4-channel one, you can. And then when you solo, it will appear in that that 1 and 2. Now, if you've got a 16-channel sound card or a 32-channel sound card, like an M32, for example, you can then assign the buses to all the different outputs that you can see, that Reaper can see, basically. So you can, and that's the same with all the buses and the matrices. So it's a bit like the routing in the M32. It's obviously not exactly the same. Right on the home channel, you've got selects, and we can select the channel number 1, and it's got all the same controls. You've got your trim, which is called gain, but of course it's trim because we're not actually using a mic preamp, so it's kind of a trim. We've got the low cut filter, and you'll notice that shows in the EQ just like it does on the desk. You've got the view buttons so that you can see how with a closer up. I will add extra things in here, like being able to pick up different things, but in this version we'll wait. There's a gate, there's a compressor, of course, then there's the EQ. It's got all the same controls as you'd expect. On the channel, it's a 4-band EQ like this, and you can see the 4 bands and the low cut that you've got over here. So it's kind of 5 bands. On the masters and on the buses, just like on the desk, you actually have 6 bands, so you'll see that you've got these extra bands there, and which you can either use the knobs just like you can on the desk that run along the screen, or you can use the knobs here and do the same thing. And it's all functioning. You know, this does actually pass audio, and it all works. Although for some, oh yes, I have to switch the EQ on for me to actually see the thing working. There you go. I was wondering why it wasn't working, but that's how you do it. And it has a real-time analyzer as well, so you'll see that whatever I've got selected is going to be showing up in there. So we've got the EQ on the master as it happens there, or we can look at the EQ on the bass drum, so I can boost the bottom end of that bass drum, and so, you know, you can hear it slightly better, and we can make that narrower, etc, etc. So, you know, that's a pretty cool way of doing it. Right, so there's not just that, so that's the channels. You can, just like any other channel, you can go to the home page and you can link them. Now that is linked to the channel that's next door to it, and it goes odd to even, just like on a real desk. You've got the gate, the dynamics EQ, and it will show you what sends you've got. Now sends can be done exactly like on the desk. So if I want to send something to bus 1, I select the 1 to 4 bus knob there, and I use that fader like that, and I can if I go down to the 9 till 13, it will be able to use it on there as well, and so you can see that working here. We can also do it with send on faders, which is this button here. So if I select a bus 1, for example, I am then sending that to bus 1, that to bus 1 by differing amounts, or does that even look like it's working at the moment? It's a little bit concerning. I'll send on faders. Hopefully it's working. Select that. Send on faders suddenly isn't working by the looks of things, because we should be able to see that moving this. So that's one little bug that seems to have happened on here. I'll see if I can get that fixed. Monitor setup. Monitors, you can see that you can pick after fade, listen, Setup is where you can name things. Library is where you can do saves of your systems, of all the different things that you might be wanting to set up. Effects is any channel or bus or master you can add effects onto. So I've got my limiter, my graphic EQ, my 1176 and my LA2A as effects, just like you do on the M32. You've got unlimited ones of those rather than just 8 slots. But I thought it was too much of a pain in the ass to change the program on that, but although at some point I will. Then we have got things like if you want to join DCA groups, you press on the DCA here, and if you've got like this channel 1, you can join DCA group there, select it again, and that can also join DCA 1. That can join DCA 1, that can join DCA 1, that can join DCA 1, and so on. And what that will do is anything that's joined the DCA 1 group, it will all mute like that when I mute that. And also the drums, I can control the whole drum group. So if I'm playing, I can quiet the drums down. There's probably an open mic somewhere, but so the DCA groups work the same. Was I on DCA groups was before? Ah, there we go. So there's the buses. So I think the buses are working. I was just being a bit slow. So if I go to my kick drum, you can see that my kick drum on center faders, I can put it into the groups, and you can see up there on the bus sends them moving when I move these. And then if I select the bus, you'll see them all come down, and again it will be altering it that way as well. So it does actually work, so I don't have to fix anything there. Same with the mute groups. I can select things and add them to mute groups like this, and so when I press the mute groups, those will mute. What else is there? That's pretty much it. What you want to do is play around with it and see if you can break it, basically, and let me know which bits work and which bits don't, and we'll keep iterating until we have the perfect desk. But anyway, I hope that you enjoy using this. I'll get that out of the way so you can see it slightly clearer. But yeah, there is the whole system, and it's, you know, looks pretty much like the desk. So yeah, have a play around with it. Like I said, you won't really have to use Reaper afterwards too much, because it can be all done from here, including the transport. So it's just literally a mixing desk, and you can get to virtually all the functions that you need via that. Just as a quick, you can see how it works under the hood. If I press one of these effects buttons here, you can see that there's this channel strip, the Live 32 channel strip, which is basically the channel strip of the desk, and it's got all the different things. It's worth noting, yes, that on the EQ you can select the different modes. So if I'm in the EQ mode and I want to put a high pass, a high shelf, you'll notice that it's in a curve. If I press it again, it becomes a high shelf, and if I press it again, it becomes a high cut. So there's a lot of work in there, and you can see that plugin here has got those different modes built in. So this is the channel strip of the desk, essentially, is this plugin, and then the high pass, low pass filters, then the gates, the compressor, the EQ, the meter, and the other tap. Now these, I believe, should have been bypassed, but they haven't been, and that was because of the way that the way that we ran the launcher. So it's probably better to use it from like a completely fresh set of multitracks rather than overlaying it over the top. But ultimately, yeah, it works pretty well. If you've got a multi-channel sound card, it'll work even better. I think my first version, I'll probably need to put in a solo in this setup area, sorry, this routing area. I might stick that you can have a solo so that it solos in place if you've only got a 2-channel sound card. But it's quite good practice to solo, being unable to solo stuff out of the mix, just like you would in a live situation. Anyway, enjoy.